Hey boos, in this video, I give commentary based on my opinion. Nothing is to be taken as factual. We are just here to have conversation. We don't expose and we don't sip tea on this channel. I'm giving you real talk straight, no chaser. Let's see if you can handle it.
Cause I'm a boss. I haven't done anything for you to be proud of.
Of course you have. You are marrying a man who can support you.
Hi ladies, it's Yoni and I'm back with another video. In today's video, I am here to give you the update that a lot of you have been patiently waiting for. Honestly, I didn't think this story could get any worse, but it did. It really did get worse. So allegedly, this woman was kicked out of a wedding the day before. After this woman exposed herself, because let's be for real, she exposed herself, that's when other attendees, vendors, and bridesmaids decided to step forward. So let's get into how she was kicked out of a wedding the day before.
I just got off a flight. You guys have been asking for a story time. You've been all up in my comments and my DMs. Hi, I'm Liz. I'm a wedding vendor, and I worked with Keziah of the Key Look, the now famous she got kicked out of a wedding makeup artist, the day before. I have worked in the service industry for 20 years. I've worked in events for 10, and I have been a wedding vendor for 2. I am predominantly a wedding content creator. That is my main business. I do freelance for wedding planners, supporting them, assisting them, and I occasionally do some day of coordination consulting for clients as well. In this instance, on 9/6, I was hired by my client first as content, and then when they realized they needed a little extra help, as coordination later. The gist of the tea is that she did the same exact thing the day before that wedding. So the wedding that went viral that she posted was on 9/7. The wedding I worked with her on happened the day before, which was Friday. I was not going to say a word about this. I was going to debrief it with my bride. We were maybe going to send a note to the company expressing some of our concerns. I wasn't going to blast her on the internet. I wasn't going to leave her a bad review. I just wanted to have a discussion with her. But imagine my surprise when, before I'm even able to debrief it with my client, I see her 3-part series about her truly doing her worst the very next day. I still wasn't going to say much because I just don't know that I really want to drag another female business owner all over the internet. It doesn't feel great, but I do think that people need to be aware, especially because of the absolute gross lack of remorse that I'm seeing. The fact that she continues to post content, the fact that she doesn't seem to be sorry at all for ruining 2 wedding days, truly ruining 2 wedding days, not cool. I commented on her videos asking her to talk to me because she was making claims like this has never happened before. Girl, it literally happened the day before. So here's the main gist. They show up on time. It's 3 people. They have, how many? They have 5 hair clients, 9 makeup clients for a wedding. They're supposed to start at 9. They're supposed to be done at 3. They proceeded to start late and run 2 hours over time because they were too busy making dinner plans, taking TikToks, and shooting the shit together. Any attempt to discuss it with them during the day was met with the most hostility I have ever received from a wedding vendor. Truly. Members of the wedding party were trying to express concern with their lack of timeliness and how things needed to get moving that were also met with hostility. There were some massive breaches in professionalism, making the bridal suite uncomfortable because you took a 40-minute lunch when we were running behind and came back crying and cried through the rest of your services. Mid-beat, being rude to the moms of the couple. Saying you didn't want to do their makeup in front of them, challenging their concerns about time, literally being on your phone so much that you're stopping the services to make dinner plans, leaving the bridal suite and stopping services to film content of other vendors doing setup, pulling the bride out of the bridal suite to make a 10-take TikTok that she didn't really want to make, and then attempting to hang around after to film your own content, proceed to get in the way of the photographer, the videographer, the hired content creator, who was me. I was doing coordination and content, and I offered to share my content with them in the beginning of the day. So they knew they were gonna get content and chose to be disruptive about getting their own content anyway, even though they made the whole day behind. Being so eager to film the couple's private first touch that we then literally had to have a member of the family escort you off the premises. Which, by the way, on your way out, you chose to walk through another wedding with all of your gear because you didn't feel like walking around it. I'm a little amped up. I'm admittedly amped. I am sorry. I'll bring the tone down. I am frustrated for these two brides who had their wedding morning be completely uprooted by this one individual who is now showing zero care or remorse, in my opinion. These are hours they will never get back. These are photos they will never be able to take again. I have never seen a wedding vendor move like this in my time, and I've honestly never seen a service provider move with this much blatant disregard for such a big moment in other people's lives. So if you're talking about the key look and the makeup artist, it does seem to have been a pattern. She did it the day before. And I can't help but wonder how many more times did she do it before that? There were ample opportunities for her to pause, take a beat, get it? Literally take a moment to reflect. Like, why are people frustrated with me? Why do I keep being asked to leave bridal suites? Are my days running on time? Question mark. Ample opportunities for her to have reflected and done better for her couples. But instead, she woke up, she did it again, she made a 3-part series on it that nobody asked for. She hasn't really said sorry. I know she said sorry and then she deleted it, but like, did she really say sorry? And now she's just posting more content like nothing happened, enjoying her new following. Meanwhile, you have a bride on her honeymoon who is probably distraught, finding out that her wedding has gone viral for the worst reason. And you have a bride who will never be able to take photos with that side of her family again, will never be able to redo her bridal portraits that were rushed and not nearly the volume they should have been, all in the name of your content game. It's a bummer. And so coming from the wedding content creator, it is okay to make content for your business. It is not okay to make content for your business at the expense of others. This is not a normal wedding content creator experience. Don't get that twisted. I don't want other couples to have experiences like this with their vendors and think that this is normal. It's not. Any of your wedding vendors ever ask you to do something on your wedding day that you don't want to do, say no. You're allowed to say no. And when you're picking out your vendors, keep an eye and an ear for a really big ego. There really weren't any warning signs ahead of time with this vendor. I wasn't in every consultation call, I wasn't at the trial, but the bride had no reason to think that this vendor was going to be this unprofessional. And so I don't even know that I could say there's anything anyone could have done to have picked this out sooner. But I do think there are probably some things you can ask vendors when screening them to kind of suss out how flexible are they, how self-centered are they, and how much are they going to give a shit about you on the wedding. I don't think you should run and leave Keziah a 1-star review on her business if you didn't actually work with her. I honestly hope that she recovers from this. I don't want to see her lose her business. The wedding industry, hands down, needs more Black women, not less. And she's a pretty damn good makeup artist. But girl, can you say sorry to your brides?
You know this woman is telling the truth about what she witnessed, because we were introduced to this woman. We were introduced to this makeup artist, this business owner, just based off of her lack of self-awareness. So when she's talking about how she took her equipment and she rolled it through another wedding because she didn't want to walk around, this lack level of self-awareness is how we were introduced to this woman. So I believe what this woman is saying, and I believe that she is telling the truth. But now that we got into what happened the day before, let's get into the day of. And now we're going to hear from one of the bridesmaids.
This is so crazy. Basically, I mean, she did great work. I have to say that. Like, she really did great makeup. Also, I'm not going to take away from the actual bride. I know she's probably going to want to say her stuff. But yeah, like, I mean, she wasn't contracted to be a content creator, and we were fully aware that she was making content for makeup, and that was fine. It just kind of it was just when she started making content that was taking away from, the hired photographer and videographers, content is when we started to kind of have a problem with it. Also, again, I don't know if anyone has been a maid of honor or a bridesmaid, but you are pulled in a million different directions, and you are just trying to make sure that the bride has a good day. And that day did not involve us getting physical or aggressive with the makeup artist. So that's kind of how that happened. That's why we didn't step in sooner, just because, again, like, we're not trying to start a physical altercation. And again, multiple people said something. The groom's mother said something. You could tell, like, again, we just thought that an adult could read the room, and that's not what happened. Because many, like, the photographer made some comments, the videographer, the wedding planner, like, there was all comments that were made that we kind of needed to stay to our timeline and kind of get things done, and it was just not getting across. So again, when she left and came back the second time, it was just, okay, we need to get security in here. I'm saying the lack of self-awareness,
because that's the consensus of this thing, is that we need self-awareness. So from the initial part, she got there at 7 a.m. So that her boyfriend cheated on her like before.
Oh, we didn't know that, by the way.
That you guys didn't know.
At least personally, I didn't know.
Because as like a professional, exactly, which is fine. You're not supposed to know. That it has no bearing on the wedding day itself. That's number one. Where's Rachel?
I'm here. Am I still here?
Oh,
yeah.
Right. Yes. Okay. So number two, we saw you guys did the first look. What was that like? Because from our perspective, it looked kind of awkward.
Do you mean the bridesmaids first look or the bride and groom?
The bridesmaids first look.
Yeah. I mean, it was. We granted, like, at the time, at first, we were just like, all right, she's here, whatever. The strangers that she said that she was keeping out of the room were actually Kiana, the bride's family. So those were not strangers. Granted, they had their own first look with Kiana, but again, like, it was just funny that she was saying she was keeping the strangers out, but she was in fact a stranger. It was kind of awkward, I guess, like, having a phone in our face during that time, just because it was, like, supposed to be very special and, like, an intimate experience with us. And I mean, this has been said in a few comments too by, like, us, by me and the other bridesmaids. Like, you can see her in the pictures in the background of that first look. And we haven't seen all of the photos yet from the entire wedding, but I'm assuming that you're going to be able to see her in a few photos. Yeah.
And then another question that we had, I just lost my train of thought. Oh, they're saying that it was an unplugged ceremony. Is that correct?
It was, yes. The officiant, she was also the groom's sister and another bridesmaid, made a comment like, you were able to take like one picture with your phone right when the bride got to the altar and then put your phone away. But yes, she was in the aisle still filming with an unplugged ceremony. And that's kind of also what and that's, again, we don't have, Kiana and her husband are now on their honeymoon. They're not. Absolutely. So to see this, and they haven't even seen their professional videos of the wedding yet. To see this is almost the most disrespectful part. Like, they haven't seen their content, and then now someone's putting it like on the entire internet of basically the entire wedding. The only thing she missed was the dancing and the dinner. That was also more of that was like a boundary.
I completely agree. I was telling the people on here, I've been a bridesmaid. It'll be my fourth time. I'll be a bride next year. And you already spend so much time, so much money planning for this, like, one day. Even though it's like, 5 to 7, 8 hours, you want to make sure that day is like the best possible. And I cannot imagine, because I looked at their photographers and videographer, their content, beautiful work. Somebody has an iPhone that's shoved in your face trying to do content, so to speak. And then you already have these people who you paid professionally to do this work. It's heartbreaking. I can only imagine, how the bride feels. It's very, very unfortunate, this like entire situation. And for her to even extend the time, being at dinner, being at cocktail hour, she said that she left, she came back, hung out with the groomsmen, all of these things. So internally, you don't have to share too much. I really want to, respect the bride's privacy. How do you guys as like bridesmaids feel?
I mean, again, I said in the comments earlier, like, our friend is truly like the sweetest person alive. And we could tell she was kind of like uncomfortable, but as a bride, you're probably anxious the whole day. And she wasn't outwardly saying at first, like, we need to get her out of here. And if that was the case, we would have done it.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think, all of the bridesmaids without the bride were having conversations like, oh, like, she's kind of a lot, like, but she's getting her videos, she's doing whatever. But it was like an internal conversation between all of us that we did realize and understand she was kind of like overstepping a bit. And again, like, she wasn't contracted to be a content creator, and the bride and groom are both not social media people. So for them, and this was something that was said in the videos too. Like, there's the groom said something because obviously Kiana is a nice person and didn't want to have that confrontation, but he's gonna stand up for his bride and he's gonna say something. And he kind of said, I think, what we were feeling.
Okay, the commenters have one question that I recently found this out. So she lost the bride, the groom's lighter. Apparently, she was smoking during the wedding. Did you guys see that?
I didn't know. She kind of went wherever the bride and groom went. So they were taking a lot of like individual portraits and individual pictures. And maybe that happened when they were by themselves, but I personally didn't. I don't know if any of the other people in the chat.
This is very helpful because the entire internet is ablaze by this random situation. I think she probably came on like, oh, we're going to take her side, but from start to finish, she didn't make a single lick of sense.
This was crazy to see, like, all of my friends sending me content about this thing and seeing our face just randomly pop up on their For You pages. But it's definitely interesting. And I know a lot of people are saying that they want us to make a video. Obviously, we don't want to do that without the bride in it.
Her day.
But she does want to, so maybe at some point we are seeing the bride this weekend, so maybe we'll make one.
And one question to clarify, the MUA that made the video, did she do all of you guys' makeup and hair? Like only some people? I don't know if she actually, like, what did she do?
So she brought a team. There were 2 hairstylists and 2 makeup artists that were all part of her team. So there were 4 total. But she was her and the hairstylist who did the bride's hair. They were the only 2 who came to the venue to do touch-ups as they were contracted for until about 5 p.m. And the makeup artist was the one who stayed almost until like 8 or 9 p.m.
Did the bride ask the MUA to stay, or she was just contracted till 5, and then the bride was like, oh, girl, if you want to hang out.
It was kind of like she was contracted until 5, and the MUA was like, I'm having so much fun, like I don't want to leave. And my friend was like, I mean, again, you don't think that when you ask someone to stay for a ceremony that they're gonna insert themselves into being a vendor. It was more like, if you would like to stay and be a guest, again, not at the reception, at the ceremony, if you want to like see your work go down the aisle. And then again, like we've said this multiple times too, like it kind of just got out of control very fast once the invite was extended to the overstepping. Yeah, it wasn't like you can stay and create content. It was like, if you would just like to sit and be a guest for the ceremony, like you're more than welcome.
Makes sense. So I don't know if you would be able to answer this because she mentioned that she ended up crying to the bride. Did that actually happen? I presume that it did, but I don't know if you'd be able to answer that.
That did. That was, so she did cry to the bride, and the bride was like, like, he doesn't like the TikToks, he told you, and that was she cried when the groom yelled at her. And then that was when she originally said, okay, I'm just gonna leave. And my friend was like, totally fine if you don't like whatever, you did your contracted time. And then so we were on the same page that she was leaving at that moment. And then after she was finished crying, then that's when she came back. So she left the venue because she was upset, and then she ended up coming back. Once she came back was kind of when, honestly, I didn't even see her come back, because once she was seen, the wedding planner kind of squashed it, and that's when security came. Yeah, so she was the one who was trying to gently do that the entire time. And it was just not clicking. And again, no one wants to be physical or start a verbal altercation at a wedding, because it's still a wedding. But it was kind of, at first it was like, okay, like we have to stay on schedule. And then it was like, okay, if you don't get it this time, we have to move on. And we were kind of, the wedding coordinator was obviously just trying to like do what she could without starting any major problems. And then obviously she stepped in at the end and really got her out. And it was an unplugged ceremony. So like nobody really had these photos or videos except for what was supposed to be the videographer. So it was kind of all supposed to be like a surprise. And I don't think that the bride and groom are like tainted by the, like, I know that it's upsetting.
Oh, I hope not.
It didn't completely ruin their day, obviously. But this is just like so crazy for them to wake up to and see, just because we didn't think that it was going to happen.
I presume hopefully the photographer can edit out her in the photos.
We're unsure if she's going to do that for the ones that we send back, the sneak peeks. We could see her in some, but I don't know if the photographer will kind of do like a deeper dive live when you get like the full gallery.
Oh, so you guys can see her in the sneak peeks. Oh
She's in the background of some of the pictures.
Did the bride's mom ask her to stay?
Not in any different way than the bride did when the artist was like, I don't want to leave. It was kind of like, oh my God, like, we'd love to have you sit at the ceremony. It wasn't like you have a full invite to do whatever you want.
Okay, and then they're also wanting to know, was she so our purview, it looked like she was fairly close to the altar. Was she as close to the altar as from what we saw?
Yeah, it was not that long. It wasn't like a church. It was a venue, so it wasn't like a church aisle or anything. So if she was in the middle of it, like the guests also fully saw that.
And just to clarify, by the middle, you mean like if this is the aisle, she's standing like right here, or she's standing like just close enough to the guests?
No, she was like pretty wherever the photographer was. Like if it was dead center in the middle of the aisle, she was not far behind. And again, you don't want to go up to someone in the middle of a wedding ceremony and say like, get out of the way. We just kind of had to live with it. The silver lining is that we did all look amazing, and we all loved how our makeup came out, and we loved how our hair came out. And granted, like in the morning when we were, I mean, you could see in the videos, like we really were vibing with her. Like she was great, and she was so nice. And it was obviously very early in the morning, but she was making us really excited. And we were having fun there, and we were doing what we were told she was going to do with like taking videos of that kind of makeup and stuff. But obviously it just kind of got to the point of like annoyance and stuff at the venue. But I mean, the silver lining was getting ready was great, and the bride had a great day.
After several people started coming forward and addressing the drama and everything that took place that day, and the photographer that spoke out regarding the wedding before, the makeup artist decided to upload another apology video.
I wanted to come on here to apologize to the couple that I worked with last Saturday. I also want to apologize to the entire wedding party because y'all deserve an apology. I want to apologize to all of the guests that attended that wedding. Y'all deserve an apology. And I want to apologize to all of the wedding vendors that worked so hard to make sure that that couple had a beautiful wedding day. I sincerely apologize to all of y'all. It was never my intentions to cause any of y'all any stress, any hurt, or any pain. That was never my intentions. I'm a small business owner who operates with the utmost care and the utmost professionalism in this wedding industry. I started the Key Look about 5 years ago, and we've done over 500 weddings. And we worked all over the country, and we also have done weddings internationally. And before I started the Key Look, I saw that there was just a hole in the wedding industry for women of color, and it wasn't enough representation. So I wanted to offer a solution to women of color who were overlooked, that this is an option. You can have luxury grooming services on your wedding day. You can feel and look beautiful on your wedding day. And that is why I started the Key Look. As a small, self-funded minority business, we bank on social media. We use social media as a marketing tool so that we are able to reach potential brides or couples who would love to work with us on one of the biggest days of their life. And social media has it has showed us, and it has been successful for us, which is why we just continue to use it in our business strategy so that we could constantly reach brides who are looking for something that we offer. So now that some time has passed, I am going to explain the story from my point of view of what took place that day. I totally understand that there are going to be others who have had different experiences of what that day looked like for them. But I'm going to explain what it looked like for me in the next video.
The bride finally responded. I waited throughout the weekend to see if she was going to address everything in a video, but nothing came up. And I'm assuming due to recent events that she decided that she wasn't going to speak out any further. But she did leave comments under her apology video, and people were saying that these comments were deleted. So she first commented and she said, "I understand you're sorry for your behavior on the day. I forgave you on the day. It wasn't until all of this that I had any animosity towards you. Then she said, 2, saying you apologize on public forum and then giving a monologue about your business is not an apology. You have my number. Then 3, you made several videos already. We know your point of view. It's enough. After the bride's comments started to go viral on TikTok, that is when the makeup artist decided to upload, hopefully, her final video. But I would also like to add that it was alleged that she was deleting the bride's comments and then she made this follow-up video.
Hello, everybody. I'm so sorry that it took so long for me to create the second video. It's just I've been working all day. I just wanted to come on here because I don't think that it's helpful for me to rehash the events of what happened that day. It's already enough out. I just want to put this to rest out of respect for the couple. I listened to all the feedback and I want y'all to know that I hear y'all. I take full responsibility for my actions and I definitely recognize that there are things that I could have done better in this particular situation. I was emotional when I made those videos and I also was emotional when I was on TikTok live, but I'm human and we all make mistakes. I plan to learn from this and I plan to make sure that we have strong communication with our clients before their event and on the day of their event. Our number one priority is to always put the client first and ensure that moving forward, nothing like this ever happens again. The bride and groom are good people and it's just not fair that their special day is overshadowed with this. So I'm just going to leave this here and I wish them a long and a happy marriage.
I'm going to wrap things up, but before I do, I have to add this in because there is a review that is now going viral on TikTok that was left for the Key Look business. And it states here, I was a bridesmaid at a wedding 9/7/24 that took place at the New York Botanical Garden, and this makeup artist was beyond unprofessional. She stepped on the toes of multiple vendors, ate food that was meant for guests, didn't listen or work. There is so much that can be learned from this entire situation. First of all, the makeup artist is extremely talented. And I believe that this story is a learning lesson for so many young women who are trying to break into different industries. And it requires you to not only be talented, but to also be professional and know how to service others. You have to know how to show up professionally and provide service. You can't just be talent and that's it. You have to be mindful. You have to be considerate. You have to be self-aware. You have to be professional, even though sometimes life will throw you curveballs and you still have to show up and put your personal issues aside to be professional. Lastly, if you are providing a service, do you have the level of self-awareness that is needed to where you're not projecting on your clients, but you're actually giving your clients the experience or the service or the work that they are asking for? Because that was huge throughout this entire story time. It seems like she did a lot of projecting based off of her and what she wants and how she likes things and what she's comfortable with. But when you're a service provider, it's all about the client. It's all about the customer. That is all that I have regarding this video. I would love to hear your input and advice that you would give to other service providers that are looking to expand and to grow. Comment down below. And also, I would appreciate it if you could give the video a thumbs up. And if you're new here, subscribe. And I hope to see you in my next one.